I can give you like 80 excuses. I just haven't really mustered up the strength to record these until now. Hence the batches.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and we're here again at a situation where I said I was going to do one thing and I did something completely different. It's a little in flux right now. I apologize. This is going to be my spoiler review for episodes 7 through 9 of Andor. This is a spoiler review, so I will be talking about some of the spoilery things that happened in the 3 episodes of Andor. So if you are not caught up, make sure you pause this video, go watch the episode, and then come back and hear my thoughts on the episode as a whole. If you are new to the channel, hi, my name is Will, and occasionally I do the thing that I said I was going to do, but then life and other shit happens, and you change it up on the fly because that's what we do here. I do reviews and reactions and some other type of geeky content video on this channel. I just like to talk about geeky things and just give my thoughts like any normal person, I guess, without getting too serious about it. So if you're interested in that sort of thing from a geeky bear's perspective, why not subscribe to the channel? Really appreciate it if you subscribe, and hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think of the episode. So let's talk about these 3 episodes. Now, to get the elephant out of the room first, I did say I was going to a 2-episode basis for the remainder of this first season. That clearly has not been the case. I had some things come up the last week or so, and my motivation has been all over the place. So I just haven't mustered up the strength, and I've been behind on the episodes as a whole. So I just watched episode 9 today at the time of recording. So hence why I just went ahead and shoved all 3 of these into this review. And just like with episodes 4 through 6 being an arc, episode 7 through 9 is definitely the craptastic arc of the Empire. With episode 7, the biggest things with that episode was the news and the ramifications of the heist on Aldhani that Andor was a part of has come back to the Empire and has thrown the Empire into high gear. They've gone full evil, and have started to imply a lot more force and dictatorship on the neighboring systems to try to crack down on the burgeoning rise of this rebellion. One in particular person, I think this the IBS, which sounds like irritable bowel. I think it's the ISB. It's ISB, not IBS. IBS is if you have issues with your bowels. But no, it's still crap. I believe her name is Dedra. She is an Imperial officer, analyst who is really taken the charge of hunting down Luthen and Cassian to really drive this manhunt and to really gather information to try to hunt down the people really in charge of the rebellion. Albeit that a lot of higher ups were not taking it seriously at first until now, especially with the results of what happened with the Aldhani heist. Especially with the results of Cassian going back to his home planet, where he was trying to convince Maeve, his surrogate mother, who we got to meet in earlier episodes, trying to convince her to get off the planet, and on top of that, to pay off all his debts because he's going to disappear because he knows he's in trouble. I gotta say, Cassian's a little dumb in these first couple, at least in this first season, because he's really much just trying to get by and also to try not to get caught, which does not end well by the end of episode 7. But Maeve has gotten the spark of the rebellion in her and decides that she wants to stay. So he also tries to square away things with Vix while he's trying to get out, and clearly Maeve doesn't want to go, which is very much a gut punch for him because he doesn't want to leave her, but he can't force her to go. And obviously he can't stay. So he definitely hightails it out of there by the end of the episode, but still the damage has pretty much been done when it comes to the increased occupied forces of the Empire on Fennec and at other places around around the galaxy, which puts Mon Mothma in a tough position because this is what Luthen wanted. He wanted to get the Empire riled up. To what end? It's like, I get it, but it seems it's hard to gauge where Luthen is currently in terms of what he wants to do. He's very in a weird position in terms of, like, yes, he is about taking down the Empire and getting these desperate groups of rebellion to jointly work together, but it also feels super reckless, and this is something that Mon Mothma puts forth to him as well, because she does take a lot of risk for what she's doing as well, but she also has to kind of rather be all in or no. And that's something that he kind of throws back at her a little bit, especially with her whole home life, with her daughter being kind of a pain in the ass for unknown reasons at this point in time, and also with her husband, who there's definitely dissension between the two. And we come to find out their whole marriage was arranged before, so it's not really something like she has a lot of intimate feelings for him. Obviously has it for her daughter, but this is just making things a lot more difficult, and with her having to be a lot more careful compared to someone like Luthen, who can kind of use other people to get things done, kind of how he used the rebels on Aldhani, and with Vel and Cinta, who do make their return in episode 8 as well. Also, his concern with Cassian being out there having information about him puts him kind of in a position to remove Cassian from the board, which again makes Luthen seem less like a mentor and more like just somebody who's just going to use people to get what he needs done. You know, damn anything else about that. It ends with Cassian being arrested, not for who he is, but because of the increased authoritarian position that the Empire has taken. They are starting to arrest more people for misdemeanor crimes, so to speak, or even just unjustly, and putting them into work camps, which happens to Cassian while he is off on a very distant planet and gets thrown into prison, which leads us into episode 8 and 9, which mainly focus on Cassian being in prison, but also with the increased occupation on Fennec, and as well as Dedra taking great lengths to try to hunt down who she's codenamed Axis, which is actually Luthen and the whole rebellion. We get some notable returns too. We get Forrest Whitaker coming back as Saw Gerrera, who is kind of the third extreme of these three different takes on the rebellion. You have Mon Mothma, who's working within the system while also subverting the system at the same time. We have Luthen, who is undercover, deep undercover within the world of Coruscant, but using mercenaries and others to achieve the goals that he is trying to set foot. And then you have someone like Saw Gerrera, who is very much militant and guerrilla warfare style. He's very much like not secretive about it. He's very much about just going full force. So it's interesting how this show like places these three individual and future leaders, I'm assuming, at least one for sure, of the Rebel Alliance. And then Cassian's just floating around, being pulled every which way, really just trying to survive. Another person that makes their return is Cyril Karn, who was the pencil pusher, super uptight security guy. We last saw him staying with his mother and getting a corporate position, but he is still uncomfortably obsessed with Cassian, and his path crossed with Dedra when she is investigating more into Cassian and into his dealings, and he's fully on board with the authoritarian trying to capture Cassian, because that seems to be now his one and only goal, is to make him pay for just injustice or whatever. But it's getting to the point where it's super creepy. It was slightly creepy before, but now it's like his character is just uncomfortable, and even made Dedra uncomfortable as well, which is saying a lot. We also get some of the ramifications too, with like Bix trying to reach out to Luthen, trying to figure out what happened to Cassian, because no one knows what happened to him after he left a planet, which unfortunately brings the Imperial forces down even harder, and they start rounding up some of his old crew and friends and starts to do some very horrible interrogation on them as well. Nothing is good. Not okay. Let me rephrase that technically. The show is good, but in terms of the innocent people in the show, or just our heroes, or just our regular everyday people, it's hard to tell how this is going to pan out. Well, we know what the end game is, of course, because we have other movies that have showed us what happens to the Empire and Cassian. Now, for the other people, we don't know yet. We'll probably find out within the next couple episodes in season 2. It is a very dour mood, especially with how it is a fight for survival, but it is also a battle to try to turn the tide of tyranny and oppression. And it's a lot of the stuff that happens in the show, and with a much more in-depth look at the Empire and some of the people that work within it super diligently, you see a lot of parallels to real world events. The parallels are scary. It can be kind of rough to watch, not saying that the show is difficult to watch. The show is actually, it's a very intense look within the Star Wars universe, because you got to keep in mind, with what we've gotten from the movies, our true faces of evil, yes, it's always been the Empire, but the Empire has always kind of also seemed a little behind the times. Like, the Rebels were usually one step ahead of them in certain aspects. Your stuff like with Darth Vader or Darth Sidious and the other Sith, those were always pushed to the forefront as your big bads of most of the properties. When we're getting stuff like with Rogue One and with Andor, it's not about those big monolithic good and evil people. There is just this evil empire who uses like their tactics and fear and control to try to suppress people, and then when people get out of line or people start to push back, they just double down super hard. And we see that so intensely, especially in episodes 8 and 9, with Cassian being forced into like a labor prison. You see so many different facets of people who have been in that prison for such a long time. There are people who are just trying to survive. There are people who have accepted what the rules are, like Kino Lay, played by Andy Serkis, who is like one of the group leaders within the prison. He is very much kind of not drinking the Kool-Aid, but he knows his place, and he's just trying to get out by playing by their rules. And that completely changes by the end of episode 9, once things at this prison start to really take a turn. They start hearing whispers about something happening to other inmates on other floors, and then when they really see what happens and hear what happens, it takes Kino Lay from being like, I don't care, I'm just staying in my lane, to they're not going to do what they told me they're going to do. Now what do I do? And Cassian is an organizer. He's definitely, like, the second he got into that prison, you could tell just how he was looking around, how he was seeing who was where. He was assessing the situation, trying to figure out an escape. And by episode 9, he's already gotten some people helping him work on a plan to try to make an impossible escape, which we might see in episode 10. Because we only got 3 more episodes of this first season. It'll be interesting to see where the chips lay, like with Mon Mothma working with an old friend from her home planet, trying to raise funds for Luthan's operation without bringing more people in, because Luthan wants to try to keep as much control over all the different aspects he's working with as possible. That's probably one reason why he's unsure about Cassian, not knowing where he currently is at this point in time, but he did task Val and Cinta with tracking him down to potentially kill him, or to remove him from the board because of what he knows he's concerned about with Cassian having that knowledge for. Another interesting fun fact, Vel is Mon Mothma's sister. So they both entered this partnership or into this rebellion together. And it's interesting to see how they're both dealing with it, how they're both trying to manage it, and that was a very interesting surprise. I was not expecting that. I'm hoping that Belle does not go with it altogether. In term, not with the rebellion, but with necessarily if she finds Cassian and like take him out or something like that. I feel like she can be conflicted a lot with some of the position that Luthen and his assistant. She was the one that kind of even snapped back in Luthen a little bit when Bix was reaching out to him to try to get information, and she was the one that convinced him to shut it down because of all the risks that he's taking. So everybody is like working together, but not really, and the internal strife can definitely cause mistakes to happen. That's exactly what Dedra is looking for. She is employing a lot of dangerous tactics, and we see some of the dark tactics that the Empire is willing to use whenever they're trying to gather information. It's super dark, but that makes it interesting to watch all at the same time. Like you know who to root for. Like there's no, well, maybe they can change. Like no, some of these people are not going to change. And we know that the real change isn't going to happen for a good while, because I think this is a few years before Rogue One, which will be interesting to see how they get Cassian to where he is in Rogue One. Because right now he's still definitely just trying to survive and save his own skin, except for Maeve. And like Maeve's like his mom, so of course he's going to go back for her. I don't think Maeve's going to make it, though. I can tell you that much. But yeah, it's like these 3 episodes really are kind of like after the high of surviving the escape, you get the real serious ramifications of that moment, to where like, oh, we swatted the Hornets' nets. Now the Hornets are out and they are pissed. And so how do you navigate that? My theory is that this is what Luthen wants. He wants them to be on high alert to maybe distract them from what he's really trying to do or what they're trying to do. But it doesn't, that's my theory, but based off of what we're seeing right now, it is really more so about, oh, well, how's he going to get out of prison? And based off of what we got with the end of episode 9 with Kino now kind of on board with trying to fight back, since he knows now they're not going to let anybody go. No one's getting out of there under their rules. They need to get out on their own. It'll be interesting to see how they organize to escape. We know Cassian escapes. We know he makes it to his destiny in Rogue One and how he actually goes out. So it's definitely interesting to see how they're going to pan these out. You know, all bets are off for everybody else. There was a tease too. We got to see the same droid K2SO, the same model, but it wasn't his K2SO that Cassian ends up befriending by the time we get to Rogue One. That was a cool little tease. There's a lot in these episodes. I actually wrote down names, so if you see me like looking to the side, it's just because I've got names and stuff, because there's a lot of names. And again, there's a lot of stuff happening in these episodes. But overall, these episodes have been intense. It is a fascinating look at how the internals of the Empire kind of work beyond just supreme leaders or Vader or emperors and stuff like that. We see how dark people will go. Because again, the Empire in the movies is always portrayed like just, oh, they're bad guys. Ooh, stormtroopers, faceless people, shoot, 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 bang, bang, bang. But these people are just officers, and some have their own agenda. Most of them are lapdogs to the Empire. Most of them are obsessed with power and keeping that power and instilling that will over the people. And these are just still those periods of time where people were still going along with it. Because keep in mind, not everyone's a rebel. There's people like Mon Mothma's husband who are happy where they are and are happy with their status. And even though they know the Empire is bad, they still are complacent in it. And a lot of senators are complacent in it. It's very interesting to see that. And then these small few people are rather the ones that are underfoot or the ones that are trying to make a difference, and how everyone makes choices and has to decide what side they're really on by the end of it. And I think that's going to be an interesting way of how they potentially wrap up this first season. I don't know where this first season is going to potentially end. I can't imagine that they're going to spend another 3 episodes in the prison. I think after flipping Kino, I think the plan will probably be to escape by the next episode, and then that would just leave us 2 more episodes. I wonder who will get if Luthen will be found out, if it'll become a point where he has to flee, or will he make it to season 2? It's very curious to see where they're taking this, especially since we know there's going to be a second season. Are we going to end the first season with a cliffhanger? That might be kind of an interesting change of pace for a lot of the Disney Plus shows, because we don't immediately know when certain ones get a second season. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Those are just my overall thoughts of episode 7 through 9. Again, sorry I didn't do these. I probably, if I do season 2, I will probably do individual episodes, because it is harder to do this after time has passed, because again, enough people have analyzed this where I hope you're watching this, and I hope you are curious about my thoughts on it. If you are, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, because I'd love to hear what you think about it as well. We'll see. You'll just have to wait and see. Subscribe to the channel for that sort of thing. As always, thank you so much for checking out this and all my videos. I really do appreciate it. If I missed anything from the episodes that you would like to hear more about, let me know those in the comments. I do read all the comments. Yeah, you can check out a lot of other videos that I've done on this channel by subscribing and liking and sharing this video around the internet. Hit me up on social media. I have links at the end of the video. So it's all D-Geek Will. Just feel free to check those out. I will be seeing Black Panther Wakanda Forever next weekend, so very much so looking forward to that. I will be doing rather non-spoiler, spoiler reviews for them, so subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts on those as well. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, may the force be with you, and I'll catch you later. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.